Imagine Europe at the turn of the 15th century, a continent perched at the edge of known seas, its horizons drawn by ancient maps, its sailors guided by stars and myth. The world seemed finite, ocean circled. Trade followed well-worn land routes, and beyond the last known shores lay only mystery. Yet something was stirring. The spirit of the Renaissance had awakened a hunger for knowledge, for new lands, for riches yet unseen. Monarchs and mariners alike felt the pull of the distant horizon. Ships would sail farther than ever before. Maps would stretch. Empires would rise and fall. This is the story of how those voyages, audacious, dangerous, and world-changing, brought the distant corners of the globe into contact in a way never before seen. Welcome to the Age of Exploration. 2. Why Europe explored. To understand why Europe turned seaward, we must first look at the world it was leaving behind. For centuries, traders crossed overland routes that linked east and west, carrying silks, spices, and gold. But in 1453, the fall of Constantinople changed everything. The Ottoman Empire took control of the ancient crossroads to Asia. Trade became difficult, and the cost of Eastern goods soared. Meanwhile, the Renaissance was spreading across Europe, igniting curiosity about art, science, and geography. In Portugal, Prince Henry the Navigator founded a school for sailors and mapmakers. It became the laboratory of exploration, where the Caravel, compass, and astrolabe transformed what was possible at sea. But behind curiosity lay another force: greed. Europe hungered for direct access to the spices and treasures of the East. If a sea route could be found, whoever discovered it would control the wealth of the world. And so, with better ships, better maps, and bigger dreams, Europe turned toward the ocean. 3. Portugal leads the way. Portugal led the charge into the unknown. Each year, its explorers ventured farther down the coast of Africa, mapping lands, trading with locals, and searching for a path around the continent. In 1488, Bartolomeu Dias finally broke through. He rounded the southern tip of Africa, a place of savage winds and monstrous waves. He called it the Cape of Storms, but King John of Portugal renamed it the Cape of Good Hope, a symbol of what was now possible. 10 years later, Vasco da Gama sailed that same route and made history. In 1498, he reached India. Europe had found its sea road to the east. Imagine that moment. After months at sea, the sight of India's shores, the scent of spice markets drifting across the harbor. It was one of humanity's greatest voyages. Soon, Portugal built a chain of trading posts stretching from Africa to India and even to the Spice Islands of Southeast Asia. They had opened the world's first true global trade network, but the cost was high. Sailors faced storms, hunger, and scurvy. Many never returned, yet their courage changed history and set the stage for others to follow. 4. Spain looks west. While Portugal sailed east, Spain looked west. They dreamed of reaching Asia by crossing the Atlantic, a wild, dangerous idea. In 1492, Christopher Columbus convinced Spain's monarchs to fund his voyage. With 3 small ships, the Niña, the Pinta, and the Santa Maria, he set sail into the unknown. For weeks, his men saw nothing but endless ocean. Fear spread. Some believed they would sail off the edge of the world. Then on October 12th, a lookout cried, "Land!" They had reached the Bahamas. Columbus thought he had found Asia. In truth, he had discovered an entire continent unknown to Europe. News of his voyage electrified Europe. Soon, explorers like Amerigo Vespucci, Hernán Cortés, and Francisco Pizarro followed. They sought gold, land, and glory, and they found empires, the Aztecs, the Incas, rich beyond imagination. But what came next was conquest. Diseases like smallpox and influenza ravaged native populations. Millions perished. Cultures were destroyed. Europe grew wealthy. Spain became the most powerful empire on earth. But for the people of the Americas, it was the beginning of centuries of suffering. 5. Around the world. By the early 1500s, explorers had reached Africa, India, and the Americas. But one question remained: could the entire world be circled by sea? In 1519, Ferdinand Magellan set sail from Spain with 5 ships. He aimed to find a western route to Asia. The journey was brutal. They crossed treacherous waters and discovered a narrow passage at the southern tip of South America, now called the Strait of Magellan. Then they entered a vast new ocean. It was calm at first, so they named it the Pacific, but peace soon turned to suffering. Months passed with no land in sight. Food rotted, sailors starved. Magellan himself was killed in the Philippines. In 1522, one battered ship, the Victoria, limped back to Spain. Only 18 men survived. They had done the impossible, circumnavigated the earth. The voyage proved once and for all that the world was round and that all oceans were connected. It changed how humanity saw itself forever. 6. A world of rivals. Magellan's voyage set off a global race. England, France, and the Netherlands joined the hunt for wealth and power. John Cabot sailed from England to the coast of North America, claiming new lands. Jacques Cartier explored the icy rivers of Canada. The Dutch reached Indonesia and built a vast trading empire. Across the seas, these nations clashed, not just for land, but for control of trade. The age of exploration had become a global competition. Ships carried more than cargo, they carried ambition. And that ambition reshaped the planet. 7. The Columbian Exchange. Exploration didn't just connect continents, it mixed them. Plants, animals, and ideas began to cross the oceans in what we now call the Columbian Exchange. From the Americas came maize, tomatoes, potatoes, and chocolate. From Europe and Africa came wheat, sugar, coffee, cattle, and horses. The world's diets changed forever. But not everything exchanged was good. Alongside goods came guns. Alongside crops came disease. And alongside trade came one of history's greatest horrors, the Atlantic slave trade. Millions of Africans were captured and forced across the ocean to labor in colonies. Families torn apart, generations lost. It was a human cost that still echoes today. Meanwhile, European empires grew rich beyond measure. Spain's galleons carried mountains of silver from the Americas. Portugal's fleets returned with spices and silks. England and the Netherlands built powerful trading companies to dominate global commerce. The age of exploration had truly created a connected world, but it was a world built on both brilliance and brutality. 8. Legacy of the age of exploration. By the end of the 16th century, the map of the world had been redrawn. No longer a patchwork of mystery and myth, but a globe of connections. Exploration brought knowledge, science, and global exchange, but it also brought conquest, slavery, and empire. It was an age of courage and of cruelty. Yet even today, its legacy shapes us. Our foods, our cultures, our languages, all bear the fingerprints of that era. Every trade route, every global connection began with a ship setting sail into the unknown. The age of exploration expanded humanity's imagination and taught us that curiosity could move oceans. It showed the heights of human ambition and the depths of human greed. So as we stand at our own horizons, facing new frontiers in space, in science, in technology, we can remember those who once stood on the shores of Europe, staring out at an endless sea, and dared to ask, what lies beyond? This was the age of exploration, the time when the world grew larger and humanity's vision grew with it. Thank you for listening. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share your thoughts in the comments. Until next time, keep exploring.